Welcome to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. My name is Danny Heifetz, and I'm joined by Danny Kelly and Craig Horlbeck. And today it is Power Hour, where every Wednesday we power rank something. And today we are going to power rank the players we are thinking about benching or maybe even cutting because we hate them so much. Well, it's true. I'm sorry, DK, it's true. They say there are 5 stages of grief, and I don't know if that's actually true in real life, but it is absolutely true in fantasy football because the 5 stages of grief completely align with a player who is disappointing you in the first 5 weeks of a fantasy football season, right, Craig?
They really do. Like week 5 is when you start to get fed up and ready to do I get rid of him? Do I bench him? Do I cut him? Or do I stick with him?
Well, it's like week 1, guy sucks, and you're like, it's denial. It's week 1, who cares? Week 2, guy sucks, you're angry. You're like, hey, Jalen Hurts, throw AJ Brown the ball. Week 3, you're like, whatever, maybe I could trade Ashton Genty or whatever. Week 4, you're just depressed. You're like, oh, my
Week 4 is
over.
like nobody wants Ashton Genty.
No. Week 5.
These actually work so well.
Yeah, it's week 4. You're like, damn,
week.
no one wants AJ Brown. Week 5 is acceptance. You're like, oh, okay, I'm just not going to play him anymore.
It's not my year.
Don't need to play
I'm just a guy who has AJ Brown on his bench.
Yeah.
That's just my season.
That is who I am. So we're going to go through the 5 stages of grief. I know we're going to move in and out because on one hand, nobody's cutting AJ Brown. We understand that. So like really talking about benching AJ Brown. On the flip side is it's not controversial to say you're going to bench like RJ Harvey, but people might be thinking about cutting RJ Harvey. And we're going to go through whether we're going to acknowledge your feelings and give people a space to feel these emotions while also perhaps advising whether you actually should act on your feelings, which, you know, sometimes it's going with your gut and sometimes that's a huge mistake. So with that said, we're going to go through all that. But first, we do have to hit news because there was a pretty, I don't know if fun's the word, but the most shocking late pick swap trade I can remember, which was the Browns traded Joe Flacco to the 6th round pick to the Cincinnati Bengals for a 5th round pick. They pick swapped to send a quarterback inside their own division. DK, what was your first reaction to this trade that the Browns sent Joe Flacco to the Bengals?
I laughed. I think I laughed first. And then I was like, that's kind of interesting. Number one, it's an intra-division trade. You don't hardly ever see 2 teams in the same division trade with each other, especially quarterbacks. And my first thought was like, oh, the Browns are fucking with the Bengals because Joe Flacco has been absolutely atrocious the last couple of seasons. But I do think he's better than Jake Browning. So I don't know. I think it's like one of those things where both of these teams kind of know what they are. And the Bengals are just trying to kind of salvage things in the short term. If they thought they could really make the playoffs, I think they probably would have tried to trade for someone better. Don't you think? This just feels kind of like a fan service thing. Like we know this is going horribly, and therefore we'll do something. But it's kind of a token move to just placate people. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't think it helps them significantly.
Yeah, it feels like fantasy service. It feels
right.
Like
that's what I was looking at.
You know what I mean? It feels like they're like, man, we can't just have people benching Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Chase Brown in fantasy. We got to give them something. It is funny though. It's like how bad the Bengals offensive line is. I would say the last quarterback I would pick to be able to withstand the beating behind the Bengals line is probably like 38-year-old stilt Joe Flacco.
Oh, he's 40. Don't worry. He's 40 years old.
Yeah, so it's like, what's the over-under on weeks we're going to give Joe Flacco? But in general, I'm supportive of this move. I think Joe Flacco should be the all-time quarterback of the NFL. What I believe the NFL, in order to boost ratings, should have a few quarterbacks that like decide to retire, like nobody wants to sign them, like kind of Joe Flacco, 37, 38. And he just works for the NFL. He's like it's like the 33rd.
Hired gun.
Yeah. And then anytime a quarterback gets hurt and the backup sucks, you can rent Joe Flacco. And so I'm happy that the Bengals.
That's a really good call. Like when we were in Dublin, my hotel had an umbrella rental and it was like €2. And as long as you brought the umbrella back, you could just put the umbrella back into the thing. And like, you should have that for Joe Flacco. And that's kind of what's going on here. I'm just amazed that these 2 teams did it in the division. And if you're wondering, wow, the Browns and Bengals, they made a trade. That's weird. Yeah. This is the first time the Browns and Bengals have ever made a trade. Ever. Yeah. They have never made a trade.
Really?
Well, which I'll spare. I had a whole nerdy NFL history thing. I'll spare you. But the Browns are called the Browns because of Paul Brown. Mm-hmm. And then they fired Paul Brown. So he started his own team. That team is called the Cincinnati Bengals. His son still owns the team. So they had never made a trade because his son is like, you fired my dad and your team is named after my father. It's a very weird dynamic. And this trade broke the seal of these teams hating each other for 60 years. That's how desperate the Bengals are. They broke a 60-year omerta of dealing with this team. And I don't know who's getting out better from this because on one hand, it's weird that the Browns were willing to basically move the 210th pick to the 183rd pick or whatever this is going to end up being to give the Bengals a better quarterback. Like, that's kind of weird in your own division. And the flip side is, to Craig's point, Joe Flacco's 40. What is this offense going to look like? How much under center play action, moving the pocket can you do? How is he really going to be? I don't know. It's weird. But on the end, it's funny because Jake Browning was dead last in EPA per dropback. They did have to make a change. Joe Flacco was second to last in EPA per dropback.
It's the only reason why I think an interdivision trade took place is because it just goes to show you what the Browns think of Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
And like how it doesn't matter.
You can have him.
Yeah,
it's
these
actually
are
better for us.
Two teams that are probably not going to make the playoffs, and you know, maybe Flacco will help the Bengals win a couple more games and the Browns get a better pick. I don't know.
I asked someone who works for an NFL team, I just texted him because I was like so shocked by this. And I was like, are you surprised that the Browns didn't just cut Flacco and let the Bengals sign him instead of just giving him to a division rival? I feel like if it goes wrong, the fans are going to be really mad. You know what I mean? Like the idea, like what if the Bengals do well with Joe Flacco? And the guy's response was basically, since when have the Cleveland Browns ever cared what anybody thought about them? And I was like, that's a pretty good answer.
I mean, the guy named his damn team after himself.
Yeah,
the Browns. Like, he didn't care what anybody thinks. Did he also try to? I'm surprised he went from naming. So he's like, all right, Cleveland Browns, because I'm Paul Brown. And then for the Bengals, he was like, let's just do Bengals. That was fair.
They were taken.
His son liked Tigers.
Yeah,
exactly. Just big into Tigers. Diana Rossini at The Athletic reported the Bengals never even called the Giants about James Winston or Russell Wilson, which is too bad because for our purposes, that would have been very fun.
Jameis is definitely the most fantasy player ever. Like the player that the fantasy people like and want him to play, and then everyone else in the league is like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, they're like,
"Why
"I'm
would
not
we do
that.
that.
We're not going to." do
I'd
that.
rather do anything than have Jameis Winston start and have 4 turnovers a game. Like, we can't win that way. But fantasy people like him for obvious reasons. I mean, he just absolutely throws bombs down the field and turns people. He's like Matt Stafford light in fantasy. Just every receiver that he has turns great. But I actually understand this from the Bengals' point of view that you wouldn't want to do that. I think Flacco, this is how far my opinion of Russell Wilson has fallen. I think Flacco actually probably is a better option than Russell Wilson. What do you think, Heifetz? Do you think they should have called Wilson instead?
No, I think ironically, I kind of think Joe Flacco will make the Bengals more fantasy relevant. They did we talked about this on Sunday. The Bengals did need a new quarterback because Jake Browning, nice guy, played beer pong with him. We did it in the Super Bowl. But however, he's been the backup quarterback, I think, for 3 seasons and has 8 interceptions in 3.5 games. And if he couldn't beat the Lions, they fell down. They were down 20 points, 25 points to the Lions.
I mean, they were non-competitive. What's the strongest word you can say for like not being able to compete? I mean, they were down like 30 points.
And the Vikings too.
Games.
Jamar Chase had like more tackles than Bengals.
He had 3 tackles and 4 catches at one point. Jamar Chase did, which is probably going to remain one of the crazy stats of the year. And it's like, look, if you've been the backup for 3 seasons and that's your performance, it's not getting better. So I get that they had to do it. Ironically, I don't know if Joe Flacco will make the Bengals better as a team, but I do think he'll make him better for fantasy. Just his play style, which is funny.
Interesting. I think it's ironic and funny that the Browns had enough quarterbacks to actually trade away a quarterback. Well, now like Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Bailey Zappi, they're all Washington quarterbacks. The backup. Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I still kind of don't think. It comes down to this. Will the Bengals have a good enough record in December that Joe Burrow comes back on the shorter end of the injury timeline? Probably not. That's really what this is about. Ironically, the one year the Bengals start 2-0 instead of 0-2, they're probably not going to actually be competitive in December. And I don't know if Burrow even comes back this season, which is, important for real life and fantasy.
It's just brutal. The amount of waiting Bengals fans have to do and Bengals players have to do. Like the amount of times that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins have to just be like, all right, I guess it'll have to be next year. 11 more weeks with a backup. Yeah. Okay, I'll see you next August. It's I feel for them.
Yeah, it's too bad. So we can get I have a couple more thoughts on the specific Bengals guys for fantasy, but unless you guys have anything else on Flacco and the Bengals, and again, I just can't a trade quarterback being sent in the division. Crazy. Yeah. We can get into power ranking guys that we're just accepting. We're accepting these guys as circumstances. And just guys we're thinking about cutting and benching. And again, to be 100% clear, we're not saying you should do it. If we talk about Derrick Henry, we're not saying bench Derrick Henry, definitely. I don't want to get blamed if you end up doing it. And we're not saying cut like Jameson Williams. I'm not saying that. And don't just do that because this guy's name is in this episode. It's more, we know you've thought about it at some point, and we're going to just acknowledge that, but don't just automatically do it, Poltrig. But we're
accepting that it's okay if you do that.
Yeah. Well, for some of you guys, we'll go through. We'll try to be as clear as we can. But again, we're going to do this Power Hour style. You guys sent me players that basically we have gone through the fight. We're grieving. These are players we're grieving. And you guys sent me a few players that you're grieving. And then I had mine and I ranked them in the order of how much grief I think there is. And if you disagree with it, well, sorry, I made the rankings, so you can yell at me. Email ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com if you hate my rankings. And yeah, without further ado, you want to just go through Power Hour here?
Let's do it.
So again,
let's do it.
Power ranking players we're grieving this season. Starting with AJ Brown, Philadelphia Eagles. Craig, you sent this in. I think he's easily the number one grief player.
No secret. We've been talking about him often this season. He's the wide receiver 52. He is averaging 6.98 fantasy points per game. That is less than Kevontae Turpin. Just let that settle.
Jump scare. Jesus, Craig.
Here's what I'll say. AJ Brown is not a cut, right, guys? You shouldn't be cutting him. Should you be starting him is the question. He's been horrific. They are playing the Giants this week on Thursday Night Football, and there has been, I mean, basically every week there's like narratives about it, but there was 2 bad weeks to start the season. He bitched. Week 3, he went off. There has now been 2 more bad weeks from AJ Brown. He's commenting to the media. Him and Saquon and Jalen Hurts had a private meeting. All these players love having private meetings.
For a couple hours.
I think.
Wasn't the report that they met for like a few hours?
It was just AJ Brown going through tape. He's like, you could have thrown it to me there.
That's a really
And then Jalen Hurts is like, remember when I threw it to you here and then you slowed down and didn't catch a touchdown?
Well, yeah, it's true. I think you're still starting AJ Brown is I think where I've landed. Do you guys agree?
I think so. Yes. I think so.
Absolutely. He's a huge buy low. The Giants secondary is not prepared. I think if you can try to get AJ Brown for Thursday Night Football, it's probably the last window you have because I think it's going to turn around. He's going to get the ball. I think the Eagles it's like a hipster take. The Eagles passing offense, I don't think will be an issue going forward as much as it has. I think the running offense is an issue because Landon Dickerson, the guard, is going to be out. This stat in a nutshell is why I think we've talked about the Eagles so much. And also I'm not so worried going forward. And I know some people are like, why are we all freaking out about the Eagles? It's 4-1. Why are we talking about this? Zach Berman at The Athletic had a stat that I think summed it up. The Eagles have gone 3 and out on almost half their drives this season. The tush push team, 3 and out half their. Not only is that the most in the NFL.
That's wild.
Oh, more. The Titans are second with Cam Ward. The Eagles have gone 3 and out 47% of the time. Not only is that the most this season, that is the most any team has done through 5 weeks in 20 years. 3 and out on half your drives. That's a lot of plays that aren't happening.
Coming into the season with Brown real quick, I think the thesis for why we would be excited about him was that their defense is not going to be quite as good. They're going to have to play more snaps. They're going to have to pass more. There's going to be more plays. There's just going to be more fantasy points available in their offense. And that hasn't really happened at all.
What's funny, one final stat before we go. The disastrous week 1, he had 1 target. After that, he's 7th in targets per game in the NFL.
It's going to rebound. I'm telling you, this is your last chance. The Giants secondary is unprepared for AJ Brown. Obviously, he's releasing a documentary around this game. Obviously, Saquon's going to get his stuff too in this game. The Giants run D is bad. Saquon, and you should honestly just same game parlay. AJ Brown and Saquon will both score a touchdown Thursday. I really don't want to watch that game. Okay. Number 2, players we're grieving here. I guess that whole thing was me not really accepting that AJ Brown's bad.
Yeah, it's the stage of non-acceptance.
Yeah, 6 is buy low.
Yeah.
Comes back around. Number 2 player you're grieving this season.
Yeah.
Craig, you sent me this one too. Derrick Henry for the Ravens.
Derrick Henry had 28 points in week 1. He's had 28 points since. Derrick Henry, this is kind of 2-pronged. I think you could legitimately bench Derrick Henry this week. However, I think Derrick Henry is a screaming buy low. They play the Rams without Lamar most likely. Then they go on bye, and then they come back and they play the Bears, the Dolphins, the Jets. They play the Bengals twice. The Ravens are going to be trying their absolute hardest to sneak into the playoffs. And so I don't think Derrick Henry is washed. I think Derrick Henry is a product of his surroundings. And it's like sometimes, like we said, he looks like Saddam Hussein's statue falling down. I think when Lamar's back and they're playing shitty teams, like they're going to look like they did in the first half of week 1. I honestly feel that way. So I genuinely think like this week you could bench him for Tony Pollard, DeAndre Swift, Cam Scatterboo. Like I think he is like a fringe top 24 guy this week. Outside of that, I think you should trade for him.
I agree with every word you just said, Craig. What do you think, DK?
I think, yes. I think I believe that as well. It's funny because this is why you don't do victory laps after 1 week, or at least you probably shouldn't, because I loved Derrick Henry coming into the season, and obviously it's been extremely disappointing, but we saw kind of what he could do week 1. He had 18 carries, 169 yards, and 2 touchdowns, plus a catch for 13 yards. So, I mean, I think he's not washed, obviously. I think it's just, like Craig said, it's the offense is really, really struggling. They don't have Lamar. The offensive line is not as good as it was last year. Everything is falling apart for the Ravens, but at the end of the day, they are going to get back to scoring more points. They scored 40 points in week 1. I think the offense will rebound.
I can't stress enough how much the quality of run defenses the Ravens face after the bye changes. And if you have Derrick Henry, people don't have time. Also, people like trading away guys before a bye week.
Also, the teams who have Derrick Henry, they're probably desperate and they don't want to have to deal with Derrick Henry giving you nothing this week and then a bye. It's like, by then you're going to be fucked anyway. So maybe people will want to get rid of Derrick Henry.
Next guy here, people you're grieving. I just put the Bengals. I put 3 and 4 here. I just put Chase Brown and T. Higgins.
The Flacco bump.
I was going to put Jamar Chase here, even 3 1/4 into that Bengals-Lions game, but then Jamar Chase had 2 touchdowns and 100 whatever yards. But yeah, when he had 3 tackles and 4 catches, I was like, him too. You're going to play Jamar Chase now, but you're certainly thinking about benching T. Higgins. You probably already are benching Chase Brown. Chase Brown, I just want to mention, Chase Brown, the running back for the Bengals, who was a hugely popular sleeper, obviously wasn't easy to see coming. Joe Burrow getting hurt was everything. Chase Brown's averaging 8 fantasy points a game, 160 yards and 65 carries. Players who have not gotten 60 carries, players with 60 carries through 5 games, but not reached 160 yards are like guys at the end of their careers. It's like Zeke Elliott in 2022, Beanie Wells in 2012, Thomas Jones 2010, Mike Allstott 2002. Like, that's the list. That is how inefficient Chase Brown has been.
Yeah, the problem, I think the reason I never got fully on board with the Chase Brown hype train coming into the season is like I just wasn't really sure if he's actually that good. And the situation he had last year where he was in a high-scoring offense, high-octane offense with a ton of other weapons, and he was getting just an insane amount of touches. He was like once he took over, he led the NFL in touches per game. He was just getting all the volume. This year, he's getting 16 touches a game, which is like 20th among running backs. And he's not doing very much with it. He's one of the least efficient running backs in the NFL. So this just reminds me, it's a reminder that, sometimes these guys catch lightning in a bottle, and if they're not an elite player, it's hard to like recreate that. And obviously like the Joe Burrow thing is a massive variable here, but even when Burrow was playing, he wasn't doing a whole lot. So
I would say that Chase Brown is a bench, but hold. I don't think you're cutting him.
I think you
probably
can't
play him.
I think you should go get Chase Brown because the Flacco thing, again, it could stay bad, but he's still a starting running back. Flacco averaged 8.5 targets to running backs this season before he got benched. Yeah. And the Browns, Tom. Didn't even introduce Tom at the beginning of Power Hour. I'm rusty, but I'm like, yeah, Tom every 2 minutes. But yeah, the Browns threw 1/3 of their passes to running backs this season, which is about as high as it gets in the NFL. So I think Chase Brown will come back around. Maybe even in a cheat code fantasy football is kind of dumb scoring wise way, but I still think Chase Brown could like be top 3 in catches for running backs going forward. T. Higgins too, but that's scarier. There's a lot of receivers.
I think Chase Brown, it's okay to say that this week, like against the Packers, you could sit Chase Brown. If you have like Tony Pollard or Cam Scattergood or something like that. I think T. Higgins, you still need to be playing.
Chase Brown and Derrick Henry both have matchups that you ask about someone this week, they're like, I don't know. And then they play poorly. And then you're like, next week, they're like, hey, still down for that offer?
Yeah.
Next up here, guys, you're grieving. DJ Moore, receiver.
This is a good one. We haven't talked about DJ Moore once.
No. He has been, we haven't really talked about him at all. And he's been an absolute disaster. I mean, he was basically a top 50-ish pick, right in that range in half PPR. And he's been an absolute disaster. I mean, like, I was actually very excited about him coming into this season because I thought it was a chance to go against the grain, go against the narrative. Everyone was talking about him possibly getting traded. He was in the doghouse. Like, Ben Johnson was saying all this stuff about, trying harder and like what you're doing away from the football. I thought there was a chance here that an elite player was going to bounce back and we were going to look at what we were talking about in the preseason and sound stupid. But now I'm like, oh all that stuff actually did matter. Sometimes that actually really it does translate to the regular season. He has a worse target rate this year than Olamide Zaccheaus.
I'm
DJ
sorry,
Moore
can you say that one again?
DJ Moore's target rate is less than Olamide Zaccheaus right now on the Bears. He going back 3 seasons, so the 3 prior seasons to this year, DJ Moore had a 28% target rate, essentially. He was tied for 3rd among all receivers. Only Neighbors and Devontae Adams had a higher target rate in those 3 seasons. Obviously, Neighbors only played 1 year, so it's really only Devontae Adams had a higher target rate than DJ Moore coming into the season. DJ Moore's target rate this year is 16%, which is 47th or something like that. It's like really low. And the guy target rate has the same target rate as Rashad Bateman. It's less than Calvin Austin, Trey Tucker, and Josh Downs. This is horrific. It's actually, he has 2 red zone targets this year.
So where are you? Are you cut, hold, bench?
I think you have to, I don't think you cut him because there's a chance he gets traded. And I still think he's a good player. I don't think his talent is missing. I think it's really just kind of checked out and the team is moving on from him more and more. Like, and like Roma Dunze has turned into the clear-cut number 1 in this offense. They're getting, they like Olamide Zaccheaus. They're probably going to get Luther Burden more involved as the season goes along. Colston Loveland hasn't done jack shit yet, and he's probably going to get more involved as the season goes along. I don't really know if there's much upside here for DJ Moore on the Bears going forward, but I do think there's a chance the team just tries to move on from him because maybe these all the signs that they were fed up with his effort and everything like that are real.
I wouldn't cut DJ Moore. Definitely wouldn't do that.
No, I'm not cutting. I'm not cutting him.
Heath Cummings had a joke that was, if I told you before the season that DJ Moore was going to outscore Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas, and AJ Brown, you'd be like, "Damn, I got to draft DJ Moore."
Yeah, that's brutal.
Whoops a daisy.
He has this is the worst target rate he's had since his rookie year.
Another guy we haven't talked about, number 6 here. I have Jameson Williams, receiver for the Detroit Lions. If I had to tell you the names you think Jameson Williams is like ranked around in points per game, what names would you kind of throw out there?
Calvin Austin. No, it's Calvin Austin's probably outscoring him, but
Sterling Shepard is like same points per game as Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams ranks 57th among receivers in points per game. Amon-Ra St. Brown's number 2. Jameson's 57th. Considering Jameson Williams the week of the season got a $26 million a year contract from the Lions, you'd think he would have more than 7 catches in the last 4 games. And this motherfucker is so unselfish and happy that the Lions are winning these games and not demanding the football at all. He isn't tweeting any Bible verses. It's unbelievable. Doesn't even want the ball, just happy to win games. So that's been horrible.
This is the other side of the coin here when you talk about preseason hype and listening to it or not. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Jameson Williams had so much hype this offseason. You couldn't like his coaches were absolutely raving about him. There was people that were thinking maybe there's a chance he actually surpasses Amon-Ra St. Brown as the team's number 1 receiver. He was absolutely just, Dan Campbell was glowing every time he talked to him. They gave him an extension in the offseason. Wheels up for Jameson Williams, and then he has absolutely done nothing. I mean, he looks exciting when he touches the football.
Every time.
He just doesn't touch the football very often.
Not that much. I do think that he will be better going forward. He's the guy that to me is the hardest to bench because the upside's so high. He's kind of, to me, like almost the new Deshaun Jackson, not necessarily stylistically beyond being fast, but just that it feels like it's 2 points or 24. And
I think that like what's happening to Jameson Williams this year is kind of why I'm high on Luther Burden, because it feels like Ben Johnson's ability to create those like big downfield spike plays to the kind of downfield threat guy, which was Jameson Williams in Detroit. That kind of is Luther Burden in Chicago. And I honestly feel like there's just a little bit less of that now in Detroit with the offense and what Jameson's willing to do. Do you think he is Heifetz, is he a bench? Don't cut, obviously, but is he a bench until further notice?
I actually would kind of play Jameson Williams.
You think?
I would. He's of all these guys, I would play him, and here's why. The Lions defense is falling apart again. Like last season, and if you look at the last season for the Lions, the first half of the year, the Lions were, I think, bottom 30th in pass attempts. So bottom 3 in pass attempts. And then their defense fell apart. And the second half of the season, the Lions were like top 7 in pass attempts. It's kind of happening again. The Lions cornerbacks, DJ Reed, who's a really good cornerback they signed, is injured reserve with a hamstring injury. Khalil Dorsey did not play last week and is hurt. TreVeyon Arnold, who is a first round pick for the Lions, is injured his shoulder, maybe out for the entire season, maybe. Ennis Rakestraw, who is another highly drafted cornerback, is already out for the season. They're starting Rock Ya-Sin and Avonte Maddox at cornerback. And like they have real depth issues in Detroit at cornerback. It is week 5 going to week 6, and they're already literally down their top 4 guys. I think the Lions are going to go back to shootouts all the time, not having the luxury of just running 40 times a game with Montgomery and Gibbs. And I think that just means that the difference for Jameson Williams more than anybody of going from 2 catches a game to 5 is a big deal. So I'm not promising you he'll get better, but I would not be shocked at all.
Wild Tom disrespect there.
Sorry, that was really fucked up of me. How dare I? Number 7, guys that you're grieving, RJ Harvey for the Broncos. This is the big L for preseason hype. And I wish I'd gone harder.
We have back-to-back coming up, but yes.
Yeah, this is a look. I still believe you should invest in rookie running backs, especially highly drafted rookie running backs. I still think that's a thing, and obviously what we've seen so far, there's been some huge performances from those guys, but it's not 100%. RJ Harvey, and this gives me no pleasure, but look, I was right about Sean Payton again. The guy's just a fucking maniac. He just loves to rotate his guys. I think the other thing that I underestimated about this whole situation is J.K. Dobbins is a lot better than I think we gave him credit for. Certainly I gave him credit for. I think a lot of people thought when they signed him late in the offseason that he was just like an insurance piece for them. He's going to be around just in case Harvey gets hurt or whatever. And he is the clear-cut number 1 running back on that team. I mean, through 5 weeks, he's the RB11 on the year. He's been very reliable.
We should point out that this is exactly what happened with J.K. Dobbins last year.
Well, can I
early on.
Well, here's my question
was like a top 12 guy in the first month of the season.
How many times did we joke that instead of taking Omarion Hampton in the top 40, you should take Najee Harris like 100th and then trade Najee Harris for Hampton like week 6? Obviously, Najee Harris had the eye injury, and then so it didn't really go that way, and then now Hampton and Harris are both hurt. But isn't the same principle here with RJ Harvey and Dobbins, where you had to take Harvey in the 6th round and Dobbins you could have gotten the 11th, but it's going into week 6, and J.K. Dobbins has such a long history of lower leg issues that couldn't you now flip Dobbins for Harvey and like a really good receiver, and then would Harvey take over later in the season? Like, isn't this exactly what we've been saying the whole time about rookie running backs that aren't first-round picks?
Yeah. But I don't feel comfortable doing that, really. I mean, I think you're basically banking on a J.K. Dobbins injury, which in the past has worked, but I don't know like if you can necessarily guarantee that.
I mean, you could if you want to do Tanya Harding.
But you're benching. You're like, you can't start RJ.
You can't play RJ Harvey right now. He has 1 good week out of 5. I mean, and J.K. Dobbins has been really consistent. Dobbins has been, double-digit points in every week, and RB13, RB15, RB12. RB29 and RB14.
You can't start Harvey until he pops, and then you start him.
Yeah, right now, the other thing is it's a 3-headed monster in Denver, and I think there's been some talk, like Sean Payton even said he wants to go down to a 2-man rotation, but it's like, okay, then do it. You're the coach. Like, I don't know what we're waiting for here. But Tyler Bidet is still playing 42% of third down, so he's like sniping away 42% of the most opportunity situations that Harvey could have. So yeah, I mean, it's just a mess for fantasy, and you just can't start Harvey until either the rotation changes or they start, someone gets hurt.
But I don't mean to disrespect Tom further, but my favorite thing in fantasy, or to me, the funniest part of fantasy football is fantasy players complaining about the 3rd running back getting playing time over a rookie running back for a team that's like 4-1. For Sean Payton, who's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. And people are like, stop playing this guy. And like, if you just look up like RJ Harvey on any platform, everyone's like, stop playing him. And I'm like, well, they're winning.
Kenneth Gainwell playing over Caleb Johnson, annoying.
I generally agree with that, but I think in some cases it's like coaches are they're going to go with the more experienced guy because they're old school. I mean, Harvey's looked awesome.
He looks awesome,
like,
but I just
get out there. Like I think he leads the NFL in yards after contact per carry.
He does.
Like,
and that's kind of why I'm like, okay, like to me,
like,
it's
just fucking play the guy that's electric that you drafted in the 2nd round. Like, we don't fucking care about Tyler Bidet. Like, what are we doing here? It's just obviously, yes, I'm a
we don't use bidets here in America. Yeah. We don't care.
I'm totally fantasy brained, yes, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong.
He's like Sanjaya. People would vote him off if they could, but he, it just kind of keeps sticking around.
Sanjaya, wow.
I don't know what recess of my brain I just pulled off from. That was incredible.
Crazy. I don't even know what that is.
If we get Sanjaya in the show, would you guys could we have him on?
No.
Oh. Who is that?
Remember American Idol? He was fine, but like then it got too deep into the season and he should have gone. And Howard Stern had this campaign to keep Sanjaya on American Idol and everyone voted for him.
I didn't know the Howard Stern thing.
Oh, Howard Stern kept, because this was before they realized the internet he was the original Bodie McBoatface, really, was Sanjaya, who was good enough to make the top 25, but he didn't deserve to be like there with like freaking Carrie Underwood or whoever it was this season. So Howard Stern was like, it'll be funny to mess with American Idol if we rig this vote. And so Sanjaya made like top 5 and almost won American Idol because of Howard Stern.
DK, he's from Seattle. You should know him.
Dude, we are definitely 2 degrees of separation from Sanjaya. If you email us, if you know
see him
Sanjaya,
at your local coffee shop next week.
Sure.
I actually would be interested in talking to Sanjaya. Maybe I'll just solo pod it. I don't know. You guys don't want to do it. We'll see. Contact us if you know Sanjaya, please.
Wow.
Okay.
Blast from the past.
Anyway, you guys are recommending either buy low on Harvey or certainly hold. I agree hold. I just
bench
don't know
though. I mean, we have to be clear about this.
Play him.
You
right
cannot play RJ
yes.
Harvey. What I'm saying I know a lot. I'm like, oh, trade for him, and I'm like, it's hard to make fantasy trades. Of all these people, RJ Harvey's probably definitely the easiest person to acquire because you click on him and he had one good game and just doesn't play. Like that's the easiest of all the people. People are going to look and be like, wait, Hassan Haskins for the Chargers is going to play more than this guy. Just add him off waivers and trade RJ Harvey. He will be the easiest person to acquire.
I think, and what differentiates him from the next guy I want to talk about is he's looked really good so far.
Sorry, I apologize to Tom directly. TreVeyon Henderson for the Patriots.
We just got maybe we turn Tom off today.
I know.
Maybe we send him home.
Sorry, Tom. That was my fault.
Send him home. TreVeyon Henderson from the Patriots again. Look at the difference between preseason and regular season, guys. It's a real thing. TreVeyon got so much hype in the preseason that he got bumped up to like a 3rd or 4th round pick. I think I picked him in the 3rd round in one draft. Obviously, that's not going well for me. He has, first of all, I think that the most surprising thing is he hasn't looked very good to my eye. I don't know if you guys have a different opinion. He only has 4 missed tackles forced this year, which is 47th out of 50 running backs that have 20 carries this year. He has 3 runs of 10 plus yards, which is 36th.
Well, he's not getting the ball.
He's 45th in PFF run grade. I don't know. To me, it just hasn't popped at all. And there's that's part of the reason he's not getting any play, despite the fact Ramondre Stevenson has fumbled. He's leading the NFL in fumbling and that's like already been his problem.
Antonio Gibson also just tore his ACL.
Yes.
So it's now just these, because Antonio Gibson was stealing a lot of the 3rd down stuff from TreVeyon Henderson, and now it's just the 2 of them. I think it's tricky. Like, do you try to get cute with it and be like, well, there's no Antonio Gibson this week. Do I start TreVeyon Henderson, or is he for you just an absolute bench until he goes off?
I think it just depends, but I would say bench probably for most teams. He's getting like, Craig, you said it last week, he's getting like 8 touches a game. Obviously, it goes from a 3-man backfield to a 2-man backfield. But they still, I feel like Ramondre Stevenson has like compromising information on Mike Vrabel or something like that. I don't understand why they keep giving him the ball. They can't trust him at this point.
I think you can play Henderson going forward. If you have to, like, I'm not saying you should, but if you have, just because the Gibson injury, he's going to play. And the Patriots.
I really hope you're right. I really hope this is like the turning point of the season for him.
I think it is. I also
Vrabel just said he wants to get him back there returning kicks. So I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign.
The law of the transitive, like if Kyron Williams can return kicks and then be like the number 4 running back.
Maybe Vrabel doesn't. Maybe he's like, get Henderson in the game and no one can find him because the text on his jersey is so small.
I think he's more. I feel more optimistic in the short term about TreVeyon Henderson than I do RJ Harvey because of Antonio Gibson.
I agree. Next up here, Ladd McConkey, receiver for the Chargers.
Yes. So Ladd has been really disappointing. Wide receiver 47. What's funny is if you kind of look under the hood, a lot of the numbers are similar from last year in terms of like target share and things like that. I honestly think it's just like Keenan Allen's here now and Quentin Johnston's a little bit better and the Chargers are struggling offensively. That's just kind of it. I think Ladd's good. I think when the offense is right, the team's good, but I honestly think he's just splitting the targets between 3 guys now, and it was really just 1 last year, and it barely was that because Quentin Johnston has clearly taken a leap this year.
Yeah,
I don't particularly feel like Ladd McConkey, like, I kind of think what we're seeing is what we're going to get. Maybe it'll tick up a little bit, but I feel like he is kind of like the 4th best receiver on your fantasy team now, and he might have a couple good weeks, but like, I don't know. I just think it's more of like an even split amongst these 3 guys. Do you guys disagree? Keenan Allen, Quentin, and McConkey.
Yeah, this is a really hard one. I think I would have said a couple weeks ago that I feel strongly that he's going to end up leading the team in receiving. I don't feel quite as strongly after that, like a couple weeks later.
The biggest difference is that he's become an underneath guy. His explosive play rate has gone from 25% to 9%. And it's like Quentin Johnston's the big play guy, and Keenan Allen's the third down guy. And then there's kind of McConkey filling in the holes. And that's kind of just what the offense is right now.
Yeah, he last year he had 7 receiving touchdowns. This year he only has 1. He's 5 receptions per game last year. That's 4. So it's definitely just like ticked down a bit. It's not like that dramatic.
No. Well, it's just the big plays. He's not scoring and there's no big plays. He's become like a borderline flex. I don't even like Heifetz. Would you call him a buy low? I don't think I would.
I mean, he is low. I think the question is whether you should buy low. I'm less confident than him and the others because there's stacking issues, because it's not just the competition from Keenan Allen and Quentin. It's the offensive line is concerning.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like he's kind of like DJ Moore to me, where I believe in the talent. I think he's still a good player.
Oh, wow.
But something has to change for him to go on.
I'm more optimistic about McConkey than Moore, because
I agree. I think Ladd is playable. I think Ladd is like your flex play every week.
Mm-hmm.
And because I believe I think DJ Moore is like getting phased out of the offense, and I feel like Ladd McConkey is still a part of it. It's just more crowded.
Yeah. The difference is I'm way more confident in Justin Herbert than Caleb. And to Craig's point, just Ladd's part of the team going forward, and DJ Moore probably isn't beyond this season. I agree. Similar thing though, in just the receivers from last year that were great, that are struggling. The last guy here, I have Brian Thomas Jr. for the Jaguars, who, obviously was incredible last year. Just one of the better rookie seasons we've seen, overshadowed in some ways because there's so many other guys that were awesome. But Brian Thomas has been absolutely infuriating. You drafted him probably in the second round, and he's got like 9 points, 8 points, 7 points, 9 points, 11 points. Like, he's basically tied with Torrey Horton in Seattle as the 40th best receiver in fantasy this year, which is crazy, right, DK?
I mean, it's brutal. Yeah, it just feels like he hasn't been on the same page with Trevor Lawrence at all. Maybe that changes a little bit after last night, because it felt like they did get some positive momentum going and like confidence or whatever. But yeah, I think, he's been one of the most disappointing players in fantasy, like full stop. So I do think he's going to continue to improve, but he was always a high variance type guy, kind of like in the DK Metcalf mold, where he's like big play reliant, touchdown reliant. And there's going to be some down games for sure. And they just haven't gotten on the same page together with him and Trevor Lawrence.
Is he, what stage of grief are we at here? Are you holding on to him?
6,
are you benching him? Buy low?
I'm going to test if Bill Simmons listens this far in the show, because I'm going to try to pry him off Bill's team in the Ringer Fantasy League later. But Brian, to me, it's really simple. He's not catching the balls that are thrown at him. To your point, like the same page.
He's not receiving the footballs.
They're sending him, not receiving. Brian Thomas ranks 19th in targets, but he's 73rd in catches. 19th targets, 73rd catches. Brian Thomas has the same amount of catches as Travis Hunter, even though Brian Thomas has 60% more targets than Travis Hunter. If you rank qualifying receivers, like if you just look at guys that meet the bare minimum, there's 177 qualifying receivers this season. Brian Thomas's catch rate, catches divided by targets, is third to last. 175th out of 177. That is not a form of regression we always discuss, but that is absolutely going to just go back to freaking even closer to that. Even just below average, like regular below average catch rate for Brian Thomas will like get him 60% more catches and yards.
His target rate is higher than Emeka Egbuka.
Brian Thomas is like, maybe he won't be.
He's like the number 2 or 3 receiver.
Maybe he won't be a second rounder you drafted him. He could be. Maybe he won't. He will be absolutely get better at the rate the Jaguars offense is going.
This is a good transition out of Power Hour to give a Ringer Fantasy Football League update. So Heifetz. So I tried to trade Ashton Genty to Bill for Jamar Chase. He said no. Now you're going to try to trade for Brian Thomas. Who are you going to trade?
I don't know. I don't know what he wants. See, I think I make a lot of trades, right? We're in leagues together. I think I made a good amount of trades. Right?
Well, look at your team. Tell me what you think you're going to do. I think it's funny if you try to predict it right now and see what Bill would do.
I don't know, because it depends what he wants. My problem with the Ringer League is it's the classic.
Well, he doesn't want wide receivers. He wants running backs.
Well, I know. But the problem is I like my running backs, which is the thing. You get like really stingy when you have a good record. I have John Taylor, McCaffrey, and Javonte, and frankly,
you'd have to give up Javonte.
Yeah, we'll see. I have to think about it. Javonte is like third in fantasy points, but he's third in expected points. It's not like crazy. It's like he's the lead back on the best offense. Like the Cowboys are incredible.
That would be a pretty. I think that would be like a good trade. from a process point of view.
Yes.
Probably. Kind of don't want to do it though.
But it might not work.
Like I don't.
But it might not work out for you, or it might not even be a big enough draw for Simmons. That's an interesting one though.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I got Charbonnet. Chase Brown.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to do Charbonnet.
Probably. The 3 teams are tied at first. Sal, Sean Fennessy, and me. Sal's team's crushing.
Sal's team is a wagon.
Yeah.
I would say the 3 of us are doing well. We all have winning records. We're all in the top 5. Heifetz second, DK's in 4th. I'm in 5th. Bill got his first win. He's no longer in last. He actually had a huge week.
He's tied for last. He just doesn't know he has a win now.
Well, he's like 40 points above the guy in last, but Bill had a huge week. He put up like 180. He's kind of back. 2 of his 5 quarterbacks, he started the correct 2. He started Trevor Lawrence and Tua. But yeah, it's all going to be like who can take down Sal. And I have to survive. I managed to squeak out a win without Lamar, so that's the goal. Stay alive. Should I trade for Joe Flacco just like the Ravens?
Yeah. Just send
just like the
Javonte for Joe Flacco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go get him. All right, we're going to keep rolling here. But the Ringer Fantasy Football Show is brought to you by FanDuel. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is your home for all your favorite NFL bets, from yards to touchdowns to who will win. With FanDuel, any play can be the play of the game. And when the Eagles and Giants play Thursday night, FanDuel's giving all customers a 50% PBT. I'm telling you right now, just put together Saquon and A.J. Brown both to score a touchdown. Honestly, put Hurts, Saquon, and A.J. Brown all score separately. And if you want, just put it together, whatever you want. Yardage, whatever you want to do. Saquon, A.J. Brown. The Eagles offense is going to have their best game of the season so far against the Giants. And the Giants are going to be a punching bag. So it won't be fun. It won't be pretty. I might turn it off halfway through. I think this is going to be ugly. And maybe people think I'm reverse jinxing or whatever. I wish I'd pulled this up before. But do you guys know the Giants' record versus the Eagles? Last 20 games?
2-18.
I believe that is right. And the funniest part about it is that one of the games the Giants won, the Eagles were like trying to lose. The Eagles were tanking. It's unbelievable. Like games the Eagles were trying to win, it's like an undefeated season. It's the Giants. They own the Giants. And I can't tell you how much the Eagles should be favored by and how much Saquon is. Saquon's releasing a documentary around this game. He's so confident they're going to win. Anyway, I'm over it. It's fine. That's FanDuel.com/RingerFantasy to bet the Eagles versus the Giants with a 50% PBT. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Okay. I want to get to fantasy court here.
Wait, I want to ask can we agree right now that if 2 of us are in the finals of the Ringer Fantasy Football League, you guys have to fly out to LA and we do it live in the theater? I feel like we have to do that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. We can do that.
Heifetz is like, oh, that sounds like, I guess that's literally Christmas Day.
I was waiting for you to realize that.
We got to make it work. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
How important is Christmas? Just fly out. What better Christmas gift than watching you beating DK in person at Spotify Mateo?
Oh man,
that's a good point.
Heifetz, if it's
come on,
if it's me and you can come out to Bellingham, hang out.
Oh,
with
that'd
the
be
fam.
nice.
I was gonna say, Craig, why don't you come to Bellingham or DC? How about that? Come our way for once.
How are we going to live stream that? I feel like it's easier.
We'll figure it out.
I think
figure it out.
Maybe not.
All right.
We're resourceful. Definitely don't tell anyone about this thing that you're doing.
I don't really want to be handcuffed.
The definition of an object is a material thing that can be seen and touched.
Fantasy Court, we have a couple fun emails, but first, I want to mention a pretty funny thing. So I in the Ringer Fantasy League on Yahoo, the only platform for fantasy in the world, the scoring was updated. And I don't think Yahoo did this.
I saw this.
So they have like a big red, it looks like a hurricane warning system on the front page of the show and it's of the page. And it says, basically it was about that crazy play where the Titans came through the pick that the Cardinals fumbled into the end zone and Tyler Lockett recovered it. And I think the fantasy, but really the NFL changed the scoring. And they changed it to the Tennessee defense is credited for a touchdown.
Oh, right. We've talked about this before. Like the offense turns into the defense.
So yeah, it's for the scoring purpose of the NFL. It's a weird loophole where when the defense has the ball, they're kind of the offense now.
Lockett doesn't get a TD.
So Lockett doesn't get a TD.
Yeah.
That doesn't really matter because no one was playing him. But what matters is a lot of people probably had the car. Yeah. Did you really?
I played him in our Dynasty League.
Get the fuck out.
Where I'm tanking. Yeah.
That's
so
hilarious.
It's good for you.
No, he lost the touchdown. Oh yeah, there you go. You like the Giants. Welcome. Congrats. But the Cardinals defense gives up, they're credited with allowing 16 points instead of 22.
Which is pretty funny because that gave them 1 point extra in fantasy. And I started Arizona's defense this week, and I had that close game against House where I won by 0.9 points. So that really mattered. It ended up booting me up to 1.9, but still, that could have, if Mahomes completes a 30-yard pass at the end of that game, that Arizona point adjustment would have given me the win.
And the Tennessee defense, I'm sure people also played the Tennessee defense. They get a touchdown, even though Tyler Lockett recovered the ball. So I know this doesn't affect everyone, but some people absolutely just want to match up on a scoring correction because the Titans defense get a touchdown on a Tuesday on a play where a wide receiver for the Titans offense got a touchdown. Yeah, which is just it's just funny. So, I guess the fantasy score question is, we probably have to go with official NFL scoring, but if someone's kind of that's dumb, hard to argue with that. That is dumb.
Yeah.
A receiver got a touchdown. Why does the defense get the points?
It sucks, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, that's actually probably the answer. Okay. Want to get to some other fantasy court cases. We have a couple good ones here.
Okay.
This one's from Justice.
Justice.
A literal
famous
fantasy court case of justice.
Okay.
Breakfast, he says, I love breakfast. I really eat it. But if I could, I'd eat candy, bacon, and pancakes every day. Which
candy, bacon or
candied bacon, like brown sugar on a bacon. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you could do that, that would be great. Anyway, he says, for now, I eat buttered bagels will do the trick, which will come in handy later.
I feel like that's pretty close to just having buttered bacon or candied bacon.
But. Please.
At least you're getting some protein with the bacon. I mean,
Justice says,
buttered bagel. What do you got there?
Are you comparing candied bacon and pancakes to a buttered bagel?
No, just the bacon part, not the pancakes. Anyway. But we acted like the buttered bagel was oh, thank God, it's so much healthier. Yeah,
it's just pure carbs.
It's literally.
You're probably right, but a lot of people listening are probably pretty insulted that candied bacon's being compared to buttered bagel.
They're not. Neither is good.
Neither are healthy breakfasts.
Right.
Is my point.
It's probably factually correct.
For sure.
Justice writes, my fantasy league is ruthless. I need to know if I'm in the right or wrong here. I had to go to the emergency room last week on Wednesday night for a bizarre stomach issue. And as a result, I was there from 11 p.m. What'd you say? Oh, from all bagels?
Bagels. Just the gut bomb in your stomach.
Dude, X-ray, just all bagels.
It's just candied bacon and bagels everywhere.
And Austin Powers, what did you eat?
Oh, that's funny.
I was in the emergency room from 11 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Jeez.
On Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Obviously, wasn't super locked into the fantasy roster while I was in the emergency room. Come home from the emergency room Thursday morning, hadn't slept, kind of down a buttered bagel, easy on the stomach, pass out, wake up. Thursday Night Football is at halftime. He slept
the whole day,
12 hours after the emergency room. And he realizes he has, this story was a couple weeks ago, but he realizes Josh Palmer was in his lineup. And he's like, no offense to Craig, obviously wasn't trying to play Josh Palmer on purpose. And so he asked the guys in the group chat, he's like, hey, you mind? I may or may not have spent 9 hours in a hospital, today, basically. Do you mind if I kind of get to bench Josh Palmer? Because obviously I was going to play him. And they responded, quote, you have to live with your decisions.
I'm going to be a little bit, this is probably rude. And I know HIPAA's involved. I would like to know what exactly was the reason for going to the hospital. Was it self-inflicted? Wow. Was it because he's living an unhealthy lifestyle?
Do you think it matters why he went to the hospital?
Yes.
What would an example be? You're saying you don't care.
Something. Wait, what do you mean?
You went to the hospital for this, and you're like, well, nope, no, you got to live with that.
That's your fault.
This is somewhat similar to a dispute that took place in one of my leagues, the Jaylen Warren situation, where Jaylen Warren was ruled out in the Dublin game. Mm-hmm. It's
super early,
5:30, 6 a.m. on the West Coast, where all my friends live. And one of the guys in my league, Sam, was like, hey, I was asleep. I would have swapped him out for this guy. Is that okay? Can we retroactively do that? Can we retroactively, make that swap? Because I obviously would have done it. And it sparked a huge discussion of like, should we be forcing everybody to wake up at 6 a.m. just to make sure that the guy playing in the game doesn't get hurt? Or should we allow you to retroactively swap?
What'd you guys decide?
We didn't let him swap.
What if he had I don't know,
but I think
been
it's
in
a
the
decent
emergency
point.
room for 9 hours?
Well, yeah, it's a decent point. I'm like,
because you're comparing West Coast time, that's the West Coast bias of the show that I rail against. The West Coast.
Well, it only
bubble.
makes sense
Is you just
because
compared living on the West Coast to being in the emergency room for 9
no,
hours.
obviously not. Because it's the opposite of being in the emergency room living on the West Coast.
Great vibes out here.
It's great vibes there. No, but the point is like if you're not around, it is kind of ridiculous that you would have to wake up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday just to make sure.
Well,
that
I think
a player
more platforms
doesn't feel sick.
More platforms are offering auto subs, which I think is a thing now. And I think that is the right answer, which is just if a guy's injured or whatever. But I think the short answer is if you want to make that a policy, but you need to offer it for everybody. You can't be one time for one person. It's everyone gets to do this. And it's whether the commissioner is going to fucking manage that or not.
I think this guy in the ER deserves a mulligan.
He does, but I think part of me is he didn't push. I think the friends were just kind of doing a bit and he didn't push hard enough through the bit.
Maybe.
He kind of just he relented to the bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe this will set a precedent going forward, but I mean, if you're in the hospital, I feel like that's kind of takes precedent already.
I love someone being
here's the thing. Here's the thing that I get hung up on, which is exactly what Heifetz just said. He had a solid 10 hours to I think when he got home.
We
to
don't
when
have the context.
Started.
We don't know.
We have all the context. He was he did not sleep in the emergency room. He was just there. He went to the emergency room and he was there from 11 o'clock till 8 in the morning. Came home and then he slept for 12 hours.
So you guys,
and also, why was Josh Palmer in the lineup? I don't know.
That's fair. That's weird.
Well, also the friends here, you have to live with your decisions. To me, that indicates there was some bad decision making.
Well, he argues it was not. He really writes. I would argue it was not my decision. I was at the goddamn hospital. It's a quote. Sure. DK, see, there's different things here. Craig's trying to start a larger conversation about starting and players, and DK's like, this guy probably didn't even need to go. He's a little bitch.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Kind of.
I was just curious. I need more information here on why he was in the hospital. Let's just assume it was not his fault he ended up in the hospital.
What?
What is the victim blaming of the hospital?
I know. Who gives it? What are you talking about?
Whose fault is it when they go to the hospital?
You're telling me if he rode a bike without a helmet, then it's well, then fuck him. He has to start Josh Palmer.
He said it's a stomach issue. You think he did a ghost pepper challenge?
He had fucking doing drugs or drinking too much or something like that.
All right.
If he went to the hospital at 11
I'm not
o'clock
fucking changing
on a Thursday,
your lineup if you go to the hospital because you need your stomach pumped.
If he got his stomach pumped at 11 p.m. on a Thursday, sure.
That's all I'm saying. Look,
watch
I don't know this guy. Maybe he went there because he was being a
if he thought
angel.
he needed an appendectomy or something and was in terrible stomach pain.
Let's assume that's what happened.
He just got blacked out on a Thursday night.
I'm just trying to get the information here. That's all. So we can make an impartial, decision here. I think
this was 2 weeks ago. We can get it. We can wait another couple days. We can get it. We can ask.
Okay. Well, what do you guys think?
I like what you're saying. I want to know. Yeah, HIPAA. I want to know all the HIPAA. We're a court. We can subpoena that or whatever.
Yeah. If we can't acquire any more information, I think he should get a mulligan. But I guess we'll wait and see why he went to the.
So there you go. That's justice. Just send us your healthcare records, logins, social security numbers, everything. We'll review and we'll give you a ruling.
You're right, though, DK. That them saying "live with your decisions" is weirdly cutting and personal. That's what I'm saying. It's like placing a lot of blame for somebody who's having a terrible day.
Watch him just have had an ulcer.
I almost just made I almost just made a horrible joke about Mark Sanchez, but let's be honest, we don't know why he was in the hospital.
Most people get stabbed, don't get arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's give him a mulligan. That's fine.
All right. This next one here, it's from Redacted.
Ooh.
They didn't redact their name. I did after reading the story.
Okay.
Arbone. Redacted writes, this week, this is the shadow docket. We can't even get names on it. This week, my sister had her second baby, which is very exciting.
Congrats.
And he says, I'm in a couple fantasy leagues with my sister's husband. Obviously, it's my brother-in-law, but it's my sister's husband. And my brother-in-law is, like most of us, really into fantasy football. My sister hates fantasy football. my sister hates all sports with a fiery passion.
Okay.
And the only thing my sister hates more than fantasy football is how much time her husband spends constantly on his phone. This is where it gets interesting. My wife and I, this is now the redacted writing. My wife and I are watching my sister's child while my sister is in the hospital delivering the baby.
Mm-hmm. Watching the other child.
Yeah, they have an older child. The younger kid's getting delivered. So redacted here is babysitting the niece or son. I don't know. And then a second kid's being delivered by his sister. And as we're patiently waiting for news of whether we're going to, how the baby's doing, I see an alert in the fantasy app that my brother-in-law has made multiple ad drop roster moves. Nothing shady.
Oh, no.
Nothing nefarious. Just added a new defense, got a replacement at receiver. But this was like 4:23 p.m. in the afternoon. So I say to my wife, oh man, must be going slow at the hospital. He just made a fantasy move. Fast forward to 5:37 p.m. or whatever time, and we get a picture of a brand new baby. And I say to my wife, whoa, he must have been tinkering with his lineup during the delivery. My wife, immediately furious that a husband could do that. She's not even the one who gave birth. Did a little more research, and we find out the baby was born officially at 4:30, which is like 12 minutes after he made these moves. So yeah, he was on his phone tinkering his lineup during the delivery of the baby. And if my sister finds out, she'd be furious. And I'm talking like maybe divorce him for furious. So I've got two options here.
Okay.
I could be the bigger person, could ignore it, could pretend like nothing happened, maybe tease him about it.
Are we talking blackmail here?
Yeah, he says, or do I blackmail my brother-in-law to trade me a first-round pick or a star player or something really valuable so I don't ruin his life, get him divorced by being a narc, and rat him out to my sister? What do you think? Is blackmail legal in the eyes of fantasy court?
Very funny story, but no.
Probably can't blackmail him. However, let's be real. What do you think of this guy doing the roster lineups during delivery?
I have a bigger issue with redacted for squealing like a little rat.
Yeah.
Protect the sanctity of the league.
Protect the shield.
That's why I redacted his name. He didn't redact his name. I was like, I'm not doing this.
See, because also it's honestly, it's not up to redacted to whether he's going to squeal. It's up to his wife. His wife is going to squeal.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't thinking when he said that out loud.
He told his wife.
He wasn't thinking.
Yeah, the second the words left his mouth and went into his wife's ear is done. She will know, unless he is going to have to convince his wife not to say anything. But he doesn't have the power in this situation, I don't think.
So DK, what is I understand that when a woman goes into labor, that can technically be
labor.
Labor, yes, it sounds easy. No, the water breaks and it's not like a TV show.
More like fun.
Yeah, exactly.
More like call it labor.
Work.
Seems super easy. No, but I know that it's basically, as you can tell, I don't have any kids, but when the process starts, it's not necessarily like the panic to run to the hospital, whatever, and it can take a long time. However,
it can take a long time, but it still hurts like hell.
Well, I know, but I'm saying, the idea that he was on his phone 15 minutes before the actual baby was delivered.
17.
The optics
17 minutes.
It doesn't look good.
It's not great.
How are you on your phone and what is going on 17
worried
minutes
about
before
this couple. Yeah, that's not a good look. Yeah, not a good look. I don't know what to say. You should probably not be looking on your phone while your wife is either having contractions or in active labor.
Yeah. What were the moves that he made? Were they smart?
Added the Texans defense. Incredible job. Ravens did probably won his week off that. I guess here's my thing.
Did he sneak in and add Dowdle? What happened?
Dude, if he got Dowdle though, she should be happy. Dude,
kind of
an
all-time
life-changing.
I mean, he's honestly trying to make money for his two children.
Right. He's trying to make money for his new family.
Here's my question, TK though. What is he doing on his is he in a position where the wife doesn't see him on his phone, or is he pretending? Because even if it's fantasy, how is he on his phone?
I don't know.
This is so case by case. I feel like some people would say go sit over there. I don't want you near me. Some people are hold my hand. I feel like you.
Right.
Do you think he's an eye shot? Do you think she sees him on the phone and he's pretending to do something helpful, or is he just on his phone?
Would the funniest thing be if you, because you kind of have an option of being up near your significant other's face or being down ready to catch the baby, being down in that area. It would be very funny if he was hidden behind the gown or something, down ready to catch the baby. He's on his fucking phone.
Like underneath the bed, he's just like,
this is like a fucking
streaming the
commercial.
Steelers defense on bye. It's unbelievable.
He's like, honey, you're doing great. He like
guy-
peeks over.
He's dedicated to the craft.
This is like Adam Gase, my all-time favorite NFL story, my number one favorite story of all time. When Adam Gase,
seriously, you good?
You good?
Walked it. Yeah, his wife got a C-section, and they were like, "You want to cut the umbilical cord?" He's like, "I'm good." Turns to his wife.
What if
"You
it was
good?"
a C-section and he wasn't like allowed to be in the room? I don't know why that would happen, but
And he's just nervously
possible.
scrolling. You're trying to have empathy.
Yeah. I don't
What
know.
if he had like the nervous poops and was in the bathroom?
That's
Yeah.
got to be an ick if your husband has to shit while you're giving birth. I feel like that's got to be an ick.
Yeah, that's
It's
Man
Email
up.
us stories
Man
about
up.
It's a
email us
sympathy
labor
shit.
stories. ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Email us labor stories.
maybe it's a sympathy shit.
Especially if any
women
women are
often-
listening and they have and
Right,
you hate your
right,
husbands or whatever, please email us. But anything your friends did, I would take stories of what men were doing while their wives were giving birth.
That is good. I would be curious to know
I would love that.
we'll redact
what
all the names.
shenanigans these dudes get up to while their wives are literally delivering a child.
Okay.
Man.
So wait, our advice to him is like, don't say anything. And
Well, he's a narc who wants to blackmail.
I know.
Yeah, we
like,
don't condone any
he
of this
shouldn't have told
behavior.
his wife in the first place.
But also,
Yeah.
narc.
Also, do we know if he likes this guy? We don't know.
he didn't say anything positive, but also we don't know. Didn't say anything
I mean,
negative.
he's not telling his sister immediately, so that is a sign that he likes him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to find a way to make money off this.
Probably got Joe Burrow out of it. Joe Burrow got hurt. It's karma. Okay. That's Fantasy Court. You guys want to do a couple emails before we get out of here?
Emails. Can I preface the emails with something?
Please.
Because I know we're going to talk about The Sopranos. I slept on it. Heifetz, I changed my mind and I decided that I don't care what 12-year-old you is doing with your free time.
I also kind of felt you would come to that. So
I think I initially was triggered because you intimated that like there's no way to watch the show.
I think
and that
that's
was what
also
triggered
what
me.
happened.
And then
It was
after
like
that, I was like,
generational
wait.
anger.
Yeah, it was like these kids need to figure out that there's ways to watch this show outside of like live TV.
Meanwhile, right now, DK's like, I have no idea how to download a movie on Netflix.
it was
too.
absolutely just you thought I was saying there was no way to do anything before.
And then
the
I
internet.
kind of like painted myself into this corner, and then after I got off the pod, I was like, why do I fucking care what 12-year-old Heifetz is doing?
So for
like,
those
go for it.
who have no idea what we're talking about,
Watch it out of order. Be my guest.
On Monday's show, we got into an argument because I admitted that I actually watched The Sopranos I basically got into I was like 12 years old and I just watched the final season of The Sopranos first. And I was like, yeah, that's not a great way to do it. But then I watched that season first because it was like a big deal at the time. And we got into a whole argument about that. And the emails
If you did it
were
now, I would
sympathetic.
be triggered.
Yeah, now that's insane. And I have an email on that.
Anyway, I apologize because yeah.
Well, there's one, we heard from a lot of people who did this with Thrones. And I wanted to read one email from Greg
G-Bone,
who basically says he says, his opening line was funny. I'm really disappointed in this latest episode in DK and Craig for spurring me to do the unthinkable and defend Danny Heifetz on a take. But here we are.
Sorry, Greg.
Perfectly normal to come into a show to the last season, the artistic integrity or not watching a show, whatever, being damaged, who cares? However, when a landmark show is on its final season and you hadn't gotten on the train early, you don't want to be entirely left out of the collective conversation that occurs, especially in 2007. And Greg's point is, I did this more specifically as a hater-fueled version when I easily could have caught up with Game of Thrones. Greg says, I watched the first season of Game of Thrones, hated it. Saw early that people mistook shot killings for actual intrigue. And when the time had come for the final season, the hype for the show was at a fever pitch. And all my favorite podcasts, even favorite sports podcasts, were doing Sunday night recaps of the episodes. Everyone was fucking talking about it. So I hopped back in for the last season, didn't catch up. Not only being left out of all the recap conversations because it was too complicated, but more importantly, I wanted to shit all over my friends for investing years of their lives in a shitty show that all along had no idea where it was going, and I was finally vindicated, and to this day out of the blue, I text my group chat and say, hey guys, remember when the dragon burnt down the throne instead of Jon Snow because power corruption is the real enemy? That was crazy.
So this guy's just a hipster.
Yeah, I think so too. That was kind of my take.
He says people mistook shock killings for actual intrigue. This guy's not impressed.
He didn't watch the show. I think it was pretty good, actually. He should.
I love this.
Pretty sick.
I take back my apology. I don't apologize to Greg.
Yeah, no, Greg. Yeah, no. Also, but he said that. Also, it was cool that Craig guessed that guy's name was Ed.
Yeah. Also, Craig, good job.
I know.
I was in a cranky mood, I think.
Yeah, you immediately poo-pooed that. I was like, damn.
I know. He's like, shut up.
The name out of the hat. Got it right.
No, it wasn't.
You're like, Craig, every other guy was named Ed in the
names.
1940s. I was like, well, I guess.
That was so funny.
Craig, you're a fucking sage. You're a genius. What can I say?
It was because I was excited about it and he was mad.
You're good looking.
You were right.
I was attractive.
Wrong.
Related to what we were just talking about here, I want to read an email from Mike about his crazy friend, Abby.
Michael
M-Bone.
So, again, related to, I watched the final season of The Sopranos first because it was live, which I think there's reasons. Mike says, just listen to you go down the rabbit hole of Danny watching the final seasons of TV series without seeing any of the prior seasons. Maybe think of my friend Abby. She's a big book reader, but reads all books beginning with the final chapter and then goes back to the start and reads the rest of the book.
Craig is disgusting.
Oh, well, to be honest, I think that's more common. That's more common than I think a lot of people read the last page of books before they start it.
What?
I don't. I think. I mean,
it's a thing that I've heard of.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, I'm glad I read this because I read this and thought this person was crazy. You're saying this is a thing.
Really?
Both
You've never heard? Oh yeah, people do this.
Mm-hmm.
I now want emails from people who do this, and I earnestly, without judgment, want to know why.
Here's why I think. I think it's because it's so easy. Like the first page and the last page are literally like
they're right there.
They're right there in your hand. It's not like scrolling to the end of The Sopranos and clicking the finale and then watching. It's like you can just as easily as you can read the first page, like you can read the last page. And I do feel like sometimes people are just like, I want to know if this is worth it, or I want to know if it's like an interesting ending, and then I'll know if it's good or not.
You skip to the last page and it's like he was streaming the Steelers defense while she was in labor,
making moves. Yeah, this is to me. This is because I don't really mind spoilers so much. It doesn't bother me if you give me a spoiler or like the synopsis, but like going and reading the last scene that's a bridge too far for me. I don't understand that.
I despise spoilers. I like try to avoid them at all costs. I try to avoid movie trailers. I will like have like Twitter mute the title of a movie if I haven't seen it yet, just so I don't see the tweets about it.
I've become more vigilant against spoilers for things I know I'll see, and I care less about things that I'm thinking about. And I'm more willing to just be spoiled and be intrigued by something I'm debating because there's so much content, but it's something I know. I don't want to see the trailer anymore if it's something I know. Like Sinners, I'm like, I'm not going to watch this trailer.
Yeah.
I'm going to just go.
There are movies that are like coming out that I haven't seen yet. Like one battle after another I haven't seen, and I'm just like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm avoiding that at all costs until I can actually sit down and watch it.
This somehow reminds me too of how Austin watches movies at like 2x.
Well, that's just another level. That's just a different discussion.
I'm like, what? What's the point?
I actually like can't think about that too much.
I agree.
What happened to enjoying like a movie for being a movie?
I don't want to think about that either. It's boggles the mind. I have one more email here I want to read. This is from Sam.
Sam A.
S-Bone.
I didn't know how to ask for what email prompt I wanted, but it was this. Sam writes, Heifetz talking about watching The Sopranos out of order, aka his parents not really allowing him to watch and then eventually allowing him, reminded me of one of my favorite stories of me as a kid, which is, for reference, I'm 23 years old, and this lined up a little bit with the early 2010s golden age of SNL, and I would frequently watch the skits and half get the more adult-oriented, like didn't really get all the
like adult.
Yeah, you're laughing through, you don't really get it. And probably like a lot of people my age around 23 years old, I loved Lonely Island and all the skits they did growing up. Watch them on YouTube all the time with my friend G-Bone. Specifically, I remember
G-Bone.
watching the video Jizzed in My Pants, the skit, and thinking it was hilarious.
Great song.
Despite... Yeah. And I jizzed in my pants.
The whole fucking video is so fucking
That's it.
And Sam writes,
it's like all whispered. It's like walked in the room and I said hello, and then I
felt a slight breeze come in the window, and I jizzed in my pants.
And Sam writes, sorry. Please don't never apologize for singing that song. Sam writes naively, because I was 12. I kind of just assumed that Andy Samberg was peeing in his pants.
Sure.
And so this kind of cemented the idea for me that jizzing and peeing were interchangeable terms.
God.
And
jizzing
was just a funnier way to say peeing.
Oh, no.
Cue to a week later, I'm in the car with both my parents and my 3 little siblings. 3 little siblings. I need to go to the bathroom, and I say, Mom, I'm about to jizz in my pants. Can we go to the gas station?
It's a shock they didn't fucking crash the car.
It's lucky to be alive.
It's a miracle that they all survived that drive.
I'm about to jizz in my pants.
I would like more stories like this, please. Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Like, encountering adult things in the wild you have got.
Wow, that's so funny.
I've told you this in person, but I've ever said on the show my Austin Powers gold member story. That was the least appropriate thing my parents allowed me to watch. Shout out to Michael. One of my babysitters came over and was just like, they were like, you want to watch Austin Powers? And I was like 7. And I was like, sure. And gold member. And do you remember?
I'm surprised you remember that.
I can't forget it because I'd never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
I was used to SpongeBob and Cat Dog, and I'm watching Austin Powers. It's totally like crazy. And do you remember the scene where Dr. Evil, they have all the, like, it's like a diorama or whatever. They have all the planets, and then one gets cut and it hits him in the nuts. And he's like,
hits who in the nuts?
Dr. Evil gets hit in the nuts, and he's like, oh, wait, I gotta find him. 1, 2, and 3. We're good. I thought.
You don't tell me you thought.
I didn't get that was a joke because I was like 7 when I saw this, or 8 maybe, because it's 2003. I think it came out, so I was like 8 years old. So I thought you were supposed to have 3 balls. So then
you've definitely told this story. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know if it was on the show, but then
so good.
So I thought it was supposed to be 3. So then I start investigating, and I'm like, oh my god, there's a huge problem here. I can only find 2. And I went to my
huge problem.
And I went to my mom like a week. I racked with guilt. I'm worried about this for a week. And I go to my mom and I'm like, hey mom, I only have 2 balls. And my mom's like, I think that's normal. And I remember walking away and being like, she's a woman. She doesn't get it. She doesn't know.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, email us stories like that.
How did you find out? Did you go to your brother or your dad?
That's a great question. I don't remember anything other than thinking my mom had no idea what she was talking about.
Oh. Wow, that's really good.
Do you guys have anything like that? Nothing? Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Dude,
I'm sure I do, but I'd rather not say on the show.
Should I have kept that to my... No, I think no. It's Mike Myers' fault. He did that to me. Well, not really. It was
1, 2, and 3. Okay.
Oh, you know,
1, 2, and 3. Okay.
We're good.
This is kind of stupid. But when I was a kid, my brother used to floss before going to sleep or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then he would throw, and I don't think because we're like 4.5 years apart. So I don't know. Maybe he was 14 and I was 10 or 9.5, or he was 15 and I was 11. I don't know. But there would always be the floss. He would throw it in the toilet, and we shared a bathroom growing up. So then he would just floss, throw it in the toilet. And then I would come in after, like, get ready for bed. And I would always look in the toilet, and I thought that that's what semen was. I thought that I was like, oh, he's 15.
There are ropes.
Yeah, I was like, that's what that is. You know, it's this thing that comes out of you. You know?
That's really good.
I think it was like one time, and I was like, that's a weird, like, what is that? But it was like floss. I was like,
right.
Okay.
Right.
I thought like it was like one big sperm that comes out. You know, like the giant eel in Super Mario. You know, it was like one big thing.
Does your brother know that story? Or is he hearing this right now?
I don't know. I don't know if he remembers it. I'll have to. He'll probably text me.
One big.
I always used to think
that's
the
really
floss
funny.
in the toilet. I was like, what is that? Why is it in the toilet?
Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com if you have just anything like that. All right. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Ronak. Thank you, Kai. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, everyone, for helping with the show. Thank you, everyone, for emailing us. Thank you, everyone who defended me with the Sopranos thing. But mostly thank you to the people who were like mad that they were defending me. You guys, I really appreciated the honesty there, where they were like, I hate agreeing with Heifetz. So thank you for the people who kept it real. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you. You too.
I got to say, worst day of my life was when I was a kid and I had Apple Music and they auto-downloaded the U2 album to my phone.
So did it really bother you? I always feel like people are so dramatic with this.
No, I hated it because every time back in the day, like when you had like the cassette thing where you had to like plug the cord into your phone, it would autoplay U2 every time I plugged my stupid phone into my car.
I mean, it still does.
Well, I don't have that issue anymore. No, it doesn't autoplay. For some reason, it would autoplay for me. Like it would just, the song would begin.
No, I still to
foisting
this day,
it.
I guess I'm
you.
so used to it that I forget that still happens. Where like, if I'm listening to Spotify and then something on my iPhone happens, or I can't explain the glitch, but sometimes it ends up playing on my phone, and I guess actually it still happens to me.
Oh yeah, it was. I like it single-handedly like made me not like U2 as a band.
What year was
like
it?
I'm out. It's probably in high school. I don't know.
Did you care?
I remember that. I don't think it was the worst day of my life, but I do remember you like couldn't delete it out of your iTunes. Like you couldn't get rid of it.
It was like it was like embedded in your
like,
Apple
I don't
Music.
want this fucking U2 in
here.
It
was so annoying. It was like at the top. Every time you open the app, it was like right there. I hated it.
Yeah. I do remember that part.
It was the album Songs of Innocence, 2014. So I guess I was in college.
Worst day of your life.
Yeah.
I get it.
You know? I became a Spotify fan from that day on. I actually did, because in college you could get the Spotify discount. It was huge.
Oh God, yeah, that was incredible.
Best idea ever. It was like $3.99 a month or something if you're a student.
Yeah.
Anyway,
got all that
love Spotify. Company man. Boy, do they have a good app. Check it out. If you're listening right now on a different platform, you're doing it wrong. All right, go to Spotify.
I actually agree.
Yeah, look at this great app.
Wow, is that how it looks? That's amazing.
Look at all my favorite shows and things. And look, the song "Wood" by Taylor Swift.
Your favorite songs? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I gave the album a re-listen.
Okay,
it's fine. It's fine. It's just like
one word. Yeah,
it's
one
fine.
word review.
You're right. That's my reviews. It's fine.
If someone came out of a coma and I was like, "This is the biggest artist in our lifetime," they'd be like, "Oh, that's kind of weird."
Yeah, but yeah, sounds like a pop album.
Yeah. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.